Welcome back to Bumblebee. I'm your host, Kyle McWaters.
And I'm Taylor McWaters.
And hold on. Switch it on. It's tradition.
Right. Here are the top 10 unnatural traditions in history that will probably gross you out.
Number 10, public latrines. Starting this list off, we're going back to the Romans. Do as they do, right? So picture a modern day locker room, just all sitting beside each other. But toilets. Yeah, gross. But social. And everyone helped each other. Yeah, whenever you're done with that little sponge thing there, Patroclus, throw her on down, buddy boy. Thanks. Take your time. Yeah, in ancient Rome, public latrines, aka public washrooms, didn't have toilet paper, or seats, or hand soap, or separators. Just sitting on a church pew, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. Worst part, you would just sit and share a stick with a sponge thing stuck on top of it. You would all share the sponge. It's tradition, right? They did this for like 1,000 years. Said it built confidence and social skills. Dude, I can't even go to a urinal with someone sitting beside me because I'm shy, let alone sitting next to each other, showing each other's pictures from the cottage weekend, talking shop in front of 10 people. Hey buddy, you mind just scooching over there? Yeah, it's gonna be a messy one. We ate a lot of figs earlier. Thanks.
Number 9, feed the dead. Since we're on the topic of ancient Rome, let's dive in with a couple of libations. Yeah, we love libations around here. Throughout history, libations have been offered to the dead. Honor those who have passed, right? One of these. Pour one out for the homie, right? Where did this come from? Well, this is a tradition that we still see today, but it began, of course, in the ancient world. It began in Egypt and other parts of Africa, and of course, ancient Greece. Those are the main three right there. Pour one out for the lad, but in ancient Roman tradition, they would actually pour the wine into their resting place. How amazing is that? Just a nice snorkel for the dead. Romans crafted these lead or wood tubes during their lost comrade's burial. They would have it included. So afterwards, it's a one-way trip to the afterlife. You're not spilling anything on the ground. Nobody gets left behind in celebrations, even after death. I love it. I could see how one would think this is a little unnatural, but I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't getting any ideas right about now. Yeah, after I go, just dump a bunch of iron brew down the pipe. I'll be good. I'll be strong as in the next life.
Number 8, boot and rally. Ah, the old boot and rally. Drinking beers from a stinky old used boot. The old shoey. Yeah, I've played some rugby over the years. I've drank a boot or two for a nasty try, and let me tell you, when your 6'8" flanker has athlete's foot, probably the most disgusting tradition that we probably shouldn't let live on. The boot and rally started from military origins. Soldiers would celebrate or initiate each other by drinking a full beer from a fellow comrade's, or even if you're lucky enough, the general's boot. Yeah, after of course it had been worn all day, fighting battles. Can you imagine what you'd step on, in, and over during a battle or war? That's pretty gross, dude. Just so hot and stinky and wet from the muck and mud, and it's your turn to enjoy a crispy Molson out of a size 13 wide with trench foot? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. No, I'm full. Not to be confused, of course, with puke and rally. That's, well, I guess, also hand in hand with each other, you know? They go together, like spaghetti and meatballs. The old puking from drinking out of a shoe and then drinking some more until you puke more. Tradition. Skull!
Number 7, crummy wine. Nice, I love drinking wine and then immediately having to chew. That's lovely, let's talk about that. My favorite part of a wedding has to be the speeches, or the toasts, right? Whatever. I love watching somebody improv their way through an important wedding speech. It's a train wreck, always. They're always way too long, way too personal, or just sad. Throw a joke in, I don't know, maybe a pun, wouldn't hurt. But where did this all begin, right? Back in the 1800s, only men were allowed to give these toasts, which is hilarious. It was always the oldest friend, the groom, best man, father of the bride, you name it. The whole thing would have been done in 8 minutes, I imagine, because guys suck at speeches. At least from what I've seen. A lot of ums. Wedding toasts go back as far as the 6th century BC. When Greeks were getting married, the father of the bride would drink the first glass of wine to make sure there was no poison in it. What an OG. Romans would drop a piece of burnt toast into the wine in order to make the wine taste less bitter as well. Yeah, hence the term toast. Yeah, wine was so bad back in the day, they had to use burnt toast, Crystal Light, just to make it better. Okay, cheers. That's it.
Number 6, handshakes. We all do it. Meeting the in-laws folks, about to smash a job interview. Usually starts with this. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. But after living through this pandemic, why do we still do this? Well, the handshake has existed in some form or another for thousands of years. One popular theory is that the gesture began as a way of conveying your intentions of peace. Lots of loyalty issues back then. Empty hand means no weapons. Some suggest that the up and down motion of the handshake was supposed to dislodge any knives or loose, hidden up the sleeve threats. The other explanation is that the handshake was a symbol of trust, and that I give you my germs, you give me your germs. We both trust each other, hands meet in hands. Now, add a little bit of spit or some blood into the mix and we got ourselves a real bond there, brother. The bacteria from one person to another person would be shared and mutual. Disgusting. In ancient Rome, the handshake was even used as a symbol of friendship and love. Well, that's nice. A pair of clasped hands even appear on the ancient Roman coins signifying peace. That's a good one. I like this. It turned from gross to nice all of a sudden.
Number 5, wet willies. And immediately back into the gross. Here we go. I'm already angry thinking about a wet willy. I've gotten a few in my life and I'm still mad at all 3 of them. Whoever thought of this, like, yeah, I'm just gonna suck my finger and then put it in someone's head, put it right in their ear canal. Freaks, disgusting. Keep your coffee breath away from my good ideas. This weird tradition slash prank slash gross hobby all began back in 1864 in, of course, England. You guessed it, that's the origin of the term, and it all started when a wet, salivated finger went in the ear of an English fisherman named, you guessed it again, Willie. What if I said Brian? You'd be like, what the? Wet William, we could do that. A wet Walter. Ooh, that's a bit too serious. Everybody laughed at this point, okay? This changed the game. It was like the moonwalk. Everyone was like, what did he just do? What happened? How did he do that? Growing up with ear problems, don't do wet willies. Wet willies are a bad idea. Digging out wax with your pinky even can create problems. If a vacuum forms between your ear and the eardrum, and then all of a sudden the sudden depressurization can damage your eardrums. And also, it's fucking disgusting, so don't do those anymore.
Number 4, blowing out candles. I just did this a couple weeks ago. So the people who ate that cake, yeah, sorry for all my germs. But it's my party and I'll cry if I want to. That should be a song. The age-old tradition of aggressively exhaling your bodily fluid and air before arguing over who gets the biggest piece. I love it. Traditions, right? However, thanks to modern medicine now, we know blowing out candles can expel virus particles, just like breathing, shouting, coughing, and sneezing. And if the person's infected, that makes it really gross. So a nice big gust of your lungs ought to do it. People believe that the smoke from the candles carry their wishes and prayers off to the gods. Good omens kind of deal. It's also thought that the smoke would ward off evil spirits and bring positive energy for the coming year. Either or, it's fucking gross and we all still do it. Next time you're about to make a wish on your special day, just remember you're spitting on a cake. Am I wrong here? Birthday to you.
Number 3, plague flowers. Speak of the devil. Historically, the symbolism of flowers has changed quite a bit. Flowers like to bob and weave, you know? It's like, someone died, oh, they got married. Okay, well, here's the same thing, enjoy. There's the flowers for the centerpieces, the bouquets for the bride and bridesmaids. There's flowers everywhere at a wedding, but why is that? Well, the idea of carrying a bouquet at a wedding dates back to ancient Greece, where it was believed that carrying a bouquet was thought to ward off evil spirits. Yeah, I hate when those interrupt weddings, it's always the worst. Like, any objections? A ghoul stands up, I'm like, oh, it's my ex, I knew it, I knew he'd show up. That's just Bagul, yeah, it's a college thing, just sit down, he's fine. But a little later on down the line, the presence of bouquets at weddings got a little darker and, dare I say, a little more precautionary. During the Middle Ages into the Renaissance, when the Black Death was running rampant throughout Europe, folks were trying anything and everything to try and ward off the plague. No more spirits, we're just kind of focused on, you know, the physical plague at hand. See, back then people believed that smells carried contagion, so we'd fight them off by using good smells. So people would fill their pockets with fragrant things to keep the plague at bay. It's like those plague doctors with the big bird nose, just stuffed with dandelions or whatever they can find. This was later integrated into wedding practices and brides started carrying down the aisle stinky stuff, like a bouquet of garlic or dill. Imagine having a nice dill pickle sticking out, you're like, yeah, it's the big day. All to protect them from catching a plague or two. Over the years, the stinky stuff was then replaced again with nice smelling flowers, thank God. But imagine if it stayed on garlic. What a dream. I love garlic and or dill. Sorry to all my vampire friends, but I'm going old school for my big day, personally. Just onions and garlic, I'm like, ah, it smells so good. It's so good always.
Number 2, hazing. First off, I don't condone it. Second off, I've never done it or been a part of it. Not really a frat guy myself. But I did have friends dare me to do stupid growing up. I can't lie. North America is full of colleges and universities who take part in this tradition, as they take it very seriously. If you can even call it a tradition. The hazing rituals that commence in fraternities and sororities can be deadly. Literally. There's a million scary stories that are true surrounding these challenging initiation processes. And I'd say the majority of them are sadistic and dangerous. If you have to do something that risks your life to prove that you're down, nah man, that's not for me. I got essays to write. Hazing has a history dating as far back to 387 BC with the founding of Plato's Academy. At the time, hazing was called penalism, which meant, quote, a system of mild oppression and torment practiced upon first-year students. Torment is the right word here. Even Plato criticized the practice of hazing. He's like, nah, that is too mucheth. Like, I understand camaraderie and brotherhood and all, but like chugging ketchup until you're on life support? Like, the school debt's enough, you know?
And finally, number 1, the monkey buffet. Okay, this last one here is a little unusual, but I want involved to have a little FOMO already just looking at this. Look at these little guys, come on, they're having so much fun. As its name subtly suggests, the Monkey Buffet Festival in Bangkok has everybody at the table. Everybody eats. Smack dab, right in the middle of the ruins of the Frag Pram Sam Yacht Temple in Lopburi, Thailand, a beautiful tall banquet awaits. It's a 13th century temple just covered in fresh fruit. It looks so inviting. I'm hungry right now and I'm looking at it. I'm like, ooh boy. Thing is, I said everybody eats. That's not entirely true. This feast is held in celebration of Lopburi's thousands of macaques, thought to bring good luck to the area and its people. Only the macaques eat at this festival, and yes, it can get a little messy, obviously. They like throwing food around, I've heard. They like throwing their as well, so maybe just kind of heads up, I don't know. So if you're attending, bring your own snack, or else there's pre-chewed watermelon waiting for you. That's also yummy too, if you don't mind. The macaque hair, just avoid that. We'll pull it out.
There you have it, folks. 10 unnatural traditions that gross people out. The toilet brush got me, dude.
Yeah, honestly, can I borrow yours now that we're on the topic?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
One's
Brothers,
back.
see? Brothers. If you want some more gross stuff, you know what to do. Comment down below, part 2, part 3. It's our job. We'll look into this nasty shit for you.
Yeah. Until next time, I've been your host, Kyle McWaters.
And I'm Taylor McWaters.
We'll see you next time on Bumblebee.
Bye.